Walk and talk video. Probably not normal yet, just because we're still, navigating the aftershocks kind of thing. Yeah, the tragedy and all. Ugh, horror, the horror. So anyway, some things have been running through my head, metaphors. The conference report might consider it connective tissue, except I don't really understand much of his connective tissue. The whole fucking dead crow thing, I just don't get some of this stuff. But anyway, I won't try. Oh, my ears are terrible. Water, I don't know what goes on. I really don't. I wear earplugs, but it's not working. Real trouble, I think. Yeah, I can't. Woo. Anyway, yeah. So I was thinking of perfection and settlement. You know, what we'll settle for, and the whole, I don't know, even rude to beauty kind of thing. The whole idea that we don't even strive for perfection. We just write it off right from the start. Even like in the Thunderfoot video, I mean, they're negotiating for, how many, well, if we kill 50 million people, we could have 1 trillion people, and like these are fair or good bargains. How many people will we stomp on for the grand victory of our survival? And why would we settle for anything? Why would we settle? I mean, it's just this whole idea that you'd settle for some compromise, some just little piece of it, some scrap. Like you'd accept the scraps off the plate like a dog and say thank you very much. Oh, nourishing, nourishing. And it's like, why would we settle? So the other thing that's running through my head is that, there's this, I think, quite lovely song from the movie Romeo and Juliet. Something about a rose, and the rose withers and dies and blah, blah, blah. But it's just beautiful music. I really like it. And, but the theme is just this idea that, this is life. The beauty fades. The end comes. Everything turns to shit somehow. And this is the cycle of life, is the turning of the shit. It's like, why should we accept this? Why is this good enough? For most people anyway. So anyway, I'm just thinking about my own circumstance, because the reality of my age has been rubbed in my face once again. And it's a truth. And it's a truth I'm not accepting. And, I'm sort of obligated to, I suppose, but I'm not. I'm saying fuck you. I'm going to pretend as long as I can. Because, I just can't, the compromised status just doesn't appeal to me. But yeah, it's just the truth. You're just not the same. You're not as good. You're not what you were. And it really sucks living with that. The idea of that, tarnishing and rusting and falling apart and turning to nothing. So yeah, it's just another theme rolling in the head through all of this crap. But yeah, why compromise for this? I mean, what are we compromising for? Why should we accept mediocre in terms of how we live, or what we receive, or what we expect? It's like, whoa, just seems like a nutty concept right on the surface. Seems almost like a non-starter. But we're so hungry, I guess, that we'll take whatever we can get. And but there's lots of metaphors for it. It could almost be like you're just wallowing in a mirage. And instead of walking an extra 20 feet to the real water, you just keep washing yourself in the fake delusion of water. It's almost like the human race. There's some real problems here, and everybody just keeps, creating a mirage, a fake world that we live in, where somehow it's going to work out, where there's some sort of math you can do to make any of it make any sense. And where's it going to go? We've got nowhere to go. So that sort of gets to the word euthanasia, and Thunderfoot's, just stepping right over that one, which doesn't make much sense. Hey, dog. How you doing? So yeah, he just kind of just walked right over that one and said, okay, yeah, I don't oppose that. Yeah, what's a bad concept? It's anti-life. We're supposed to do what the DNA says. And the DNA says, yeah, you should scream until you use up every calorie you have left screaming. It's like you should never give up. Oh, you should be like some kind of bug, that even when all is lost, just keep crawling and leave that little gut trail behind you. Yeah, like that's the smart thing to do. But isn't that what we're sort of doing? We're just leaving a gut trail. We're just living this harsh and mediocre and disgusting, and we all have to live in this lowest common denominator world. I mean, we don't get the choice to get free of it. You have to live with all the bugs and the assholes and the fuckers and the shit. You have to smell all their farts. It's just so, I mean, it's almost like I feel like that Agent Smith guy in The Matrix, and he's just like, I can smell your stink. I mean, fuck, what am I doing here? But yeah, and we all get tainted with this stuff, and we all get to feel like we stink, like we're not good enough, like we lost our mojo in some way, and yeah, it's very defeating. And look at how we struggle. I said, I mean, it's just, you can see it in people, how they fight the whatever this coming of the night, or however that poem, that idiotic poem goes. But yeah, they just keep fighting it. And maybe it's the rational thing to do is just acquiesce and say it's got nowhere to go. Just an interruption video, I think. Yeah, pleasant evening. Yeah, pleasant, very pleasant. Quiet even. Yeah, it's nice. Locusts have shut up for the evening. And yeah, it's really quite nice. Yep. Yeah, really. So, I want to make a Professor Anton video when I get home. Oh, it's going to be hours long. His video is like 20 minutes, and he's just saying the same shit all over again. But I will try to find a new angle on it. Some way to pry the can open. Yeah, with some other implement of some kind. Or not. So anyway, yeah, so sorry for the interruption. If I was saying something important, I'm sorry. I really shouldn't do this. But, it gives me something to do in between times and such. Okay, enough. Yeah. But yeah, they just keep fighting it. And maybe it's the rational thing to do is just acquiesce and say it's got nowhere to go. It had its Romeo and Juliet moment. There wasn't going to be a happily ever after. There was just going to be a tragic end somewhere. So maybe it's best to blow it up, get it over with quickly, shoot it in the head as humanely as possible. It'll just, it's gonna just slowly die of these wounds of time. Piece by piece, inch by inch. And then what are you left with? I'm sorry, I'm really just going out in all kinds of space, but it's sort of like this. I've sort of brought this kind of stuff up before about my grandmother and a friend I had, and about how even a cat, my favorite cat, died really poorly, and I can never get that picture out of my head. It's just there whenever I think of that cat, and it's so horrible a tragedy because I had so many perfect memories, and I have that stupid, ugly shit death and I just I can't migrate it out of the subject. It won't go away. The big, ugly, fat ass just keeps flying in my face. And how do you get rid of it? How do you get rid of something like that, an event like that? And so this is now getting real metaphor-y that's kind of directly related to this whole mess. But anyway, we're not talking about it. It's against the rules. But yeah, these are like one of the greatest tragedies of this whole bullshit psychology thing. Is that even, I mean, it's very hard to just contrive it. It's very hard to just say, I'm not going to remember. Well, how the fuck do you do that? How do you not remember the last 10 years of somebody's life that was absolutely horrible and just remember the first 10 years? I mean, I suppose it might be possible if you try to give them a different name. Like maybe only call them by their last name for the first 10 years and then only call them by their first name for your memories of the last 10 years. And then somehow maybe you'll be able to separate those two pockets of memory. But if I haven't been able to do that yet. It's like one of my favorite cats also, killed, some birds I had raised, and I don't hold it against him, but I mean, it's just another one of these little tarnishing events, where he was a great cat. I mean, it was really a magnificent slaughter. I mean, he did a brilliant job of it. So I give him points just because he really showed what a great cat he was, just because he did something truly incredible. But obviously he did something incredibly horrible. So, but yeah, it's just, this is what life everything turns into. These, it's like everything is like a piece of Velcro. And every object that floats in your head, every individual or person or thing, ends up having this shit that sticks to them, like a comment they made, or a wink, or an innuendo, or whatever all these little things, and they end up sticking to this Velcro of your memory, conception, perception. And if you get hurt in a relationship, it's just so hard to undo that, to take away that, and say, oh, I can trust this person again. They won't hurt me. I mean, women seem to be able to do it. I mean, I got to concede that. I mean, I can't really imagine having a man beat me up and then, letting him do it again. Holy shit. But, yeah, I mean, but that's I guess I said, so here, this video was constructive, is I like this idea of Velcro. This idea that things just get stuck on other things. And sometimes the sticking is well-deserved and sometimes it's not. And the emphasis is so screwed up. Again, it's all about these big events. And somebody even said it in the Thunderfoot video about him just making videos about blowing shit up. And yeah, it's that impact crap. 9/11. No, it wasn't the greatest human tragedy ever. It wasn't even close to Fukushima. And yet, in our minds, it's 9/11. All the big important things have stuck into it. Even the Holocaust, Thunderfoot talked about. Like, oh yeah, there really wasn't any. Without the Holocaust, defining the Holocaust, we wouldn't know what a Holocaust was. Oh, come on. It's just kind of funny that somehow we haven't stuck the annihilation of most of the North American tribes, the annihilation of them, the true genocide, to the word Holocaust. Kind of surprising. How come the Velcro didn't work there? What went wrong with the images and the events? How come it didn't stick? How come the fat ass of Holocaust can't stick to that piece of Velcro? I mean, maybe it is about this emotional thing. Somehow you need the emotion those images of the Holocaust are brutal. And so maybe part of it is that emotion. And it just makes that Velcro sticky. It makes it stick even harder. Creates more little hooks. Yeah, that's a good theory too. It's not really a theory. I don't believe your brain has any Velcro in it. So please, people, Dana, cat crazy fuck, and others, please don't take me literally, you crazy bastards. But anyway, these are metaphors. Yeah, metaphor. So anyway, ultimately I wanted to get to the idea that another one of these, Romeo and Juliet tragedies really is the life story. Shakespeare was kind of brilliant and all that crap. But yeah, this metaphor, it just can't happen. We can't mix our love and the hates, the bigotries, the beauties, the uglinesses, the this and that. It just won't happen. It's doomed to a tragic and preposterous failure, because somehow that's it's just the way the square wheel of the DNA mechanism dooms us. There will be a silly irony, as there can't be anything else. There's no happily ever after. You just can't create it. You can't make it. So it's always going to be some slow, cruddy failure. And the logical thing is to euthanize it. Grab it at its peak. Take it at its beautiful, best apex of perfection and blow its brains out. That's mercy. Do give it the mercy of maintaining itself at its best. Yeah, don't let it do the 20 years of failure thing. But anyway, that's just all talk because I'm doing it. Yep, you're damn right. Yeah, so that's the joke. I will, but like I said, I'm not for it in principle, and that's the part that matters. What we can do emotionally is what we can do emotionally. You can't control too much of that. But what we say, what we believe in, what we vote for, what we endorse, and what we allow, what we accept, that stuff we can do something about. So, not too bad. We got through it. There's not a dead crow. Yeah, I just haven't watched Conference Reports videos. I can't even get past the titles. I need to be in a stronger state of mind to face it. But anyway, so till next time and such, and so forth and whatnot. Yes.